All right, welcome in everybody to the State of Aptos Gaming Twitter space here on this Thursday morning if you're in the States, or night if you're over in the APAC region. Thanks for joining us today, Sherwin and Joseph. We're stoked to have you on. Before we dive in, please note that opinions coming from myself and our guests do not reflect the opinions of Jump or its affiliates and are for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. Under no circumstances should the opinions expressed here be considered financial advice, investment advice, trading advice, or any other type of advice. You should not make any decisions based on any information presented here without undertaking your own due diligence and consulting with a financial advisor. This recording may be used in the future, so please head to jumpcrypto.com/NFA for more information. Today we're going to be diving into Aptos Gaming and Metapixel a little bit more broadly. We've got Joseph up on the stage, Sherwin, and it looks like we've got David who's requesting to come up. We'll bring you on up in a second. Why don't we start with a couple rounds of introductions. Sherwin, the head of gaming partnerships at Aptos Labs, will throw over to you first.
Hey, thanks a lot, Joe, and happy to be here. So by way of quick introduction, my name is Sherwin. I lead gaming partnerships at Aptos Labs. Aptos is a layer one blockchain committed to bringing a more open internet. We're building a lot of exciting things with many of our partners, such as Joseph at NPixel, and excited to be on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us here today and throwing on over to Joseph because you just got called out.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me here. So my name is Joseph, and I am leading business side on the Metapixel team. And Metapixel is basically we are building basically a Web3 home for gamers on top of Aptos blockchain. So we are using our original IPs to bring some really good quality games on top of blockchain, and trying to see how we can integrate the blockchain features and bring more enhanced gaming experiences. And happy to have hop on some discussions regarding the state of gaming on the Aptos currently.
Yeah, excited to dive into Metapixel specifically, and then on-chain gaming and Aptos gaming specifically. David, last but not least, would you give a little introduction here?
Hey, David here from Aptos, lead engineering. We just launched about 7.5 months ago, have a really reliable, performance upgradable blockchain. And, we've been very blessed to have great partnerships with Metapixel so that we can really explore the delta between what Web3 is to date and what Web3 could be to really enable and empower amazing games to come onto various blockchains, especially Aptos. And happy to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Before we get started, I want to sort of frame this conversation a little bit. We wanted to bring together this group because we have an event going on coming up pretty quick now. In Singapore, it's Web3 Gaming Week. Jump is co-organizing it with Google Cloud. It's going to be at their developer campus in Singapore. So if you're a game developer, a designer, or a game developer or designer, and you guys want to come out, there's a couple links above that can get you to the application. I'd fill those out quick if you're interested because the event is coming up on us pretty fast. Sweet. Let's go ahead and dive into this here today. I want to start a little high level, just talking about on-chain gaming, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into Aptos gaming, and then Metapixel there at the very end. So let's start by just asking sort of a broad question: is Web3 gaming continues to dominate headlines as one of the best options for onboarding the next billion people into Web3. Why do you think gaming, out of all the sectors, even surpassing film, music, has the ability to introduce a large mass audience of consumers to the benefits of Web3 tech? Maybe we'll start with Sherwin. I'm just reading it in order left to right on my phone here.
All right, seems like I'm really in the hot seat here. So I can take a stab at answering that question. And I think there's two parts of this, right? Which is, one, what is interesting about gaming? And two, why is that a unique fit into Web3? So, in the past few years, I think gaming has really seen a renaissance as an industry. As you correctly mentioned, the gaming TAM right now, TAM is total addressable market, is larger than that of film and music combined, right? more and more people are playing games. You'll find that like millennials and Gen Zs are really gaming natives, and more people, I think like 60% of the world's population consider themselves to be gamers. Games appeal to people of all ages, all genders, and is a worldwide phenomenon. And so, if you think about what things are mass market, there really is no more mass market experience than gaming. And why do we see that as a good on ramp into Web3? Well, I think what makes gaming really interesting as a sector is gaming is kind of this space where new technologies really get tested and verified and proven out before they make their way through the rest of the ecosystem, right? So, people often forget that, for example, games were live before software was live. Like today, software as a service or SaaS, live software is the dominant way that software is kind of delivered. But games were live much earlier before, right? There was this concept of live services and games that were played in real time and constantly updated with live ops. So I think Web3 is kind of going to follow the same pattern where gaming is kind of, low risk. Nobody dies if the technology goes wrong. Nobody loses billions of dollars. It's just a good experimental ground. And furthermore, gaming is kind of a space where new business model innovations can really have a big change on the industry. So I'm really excited about the marriage of gaming and Web3 as to kind of bring, Web3 and blockchain to the masses.
Nice. Thanks for that, Sherwin. I'll open that up to the floor, and this whole conversation can be sort of free-flowing. If you guys have something to say, don't wait for me to come in and prompt you. Feel free to just jump right in there. So whoever wants to take it away, Joseph or David.
I'll jump in. I think Joseph, I just beat you by a hair. So I think it's really interesting that gaming is so low barrier to entry. And I think there's really, and you've seen in many different regions of the world where people are really excited to have microtransactions enable them to get special collectibles, grow their characters, grow their heroes, really invest deeply into a game, both in terms of time and with, small amounts of payments. And I think blockchains really have a great way of kind of empowering users to do that, but not just do it once and be stuck on a single game, but to kind of explore the metaverse or the opportunity to kind of bring your character with you, to evolve your character over a longer period of time. And I think that technology, that enablement is going to be huge. And I think with the really cool stuff, and not to market too much on Aptos, but the really cool stuff about Aptos is with our incredibly low gas rates, it's really easy to get in there and even to cover the costs, cover the fees for your customers for that early onboarding phase without it even making a ding in your overall budget. And so I think the future and the opportunity is really on the forefront.
Yeah, I
Joseph,
totally agree
had
with
anything you wanted
the
to add?
point that what Shireen and David just mentioned, because as a game developer perspective, I personally think that we can actually use our players to get more interested and more interaction related to the gaming narratives when they are getting adoptions to the blockchain. So it can be some collectibles or tokens, but also it can be used as delivering some kind of transparency and enhancing the actual gaming experiences. So I think there might be a really good opportunities to test out how we can actually use the blockchain technology to enhance the actual experience of the gamers. And I think everybody is just moving forward to see how they can actually bring the actual really good use cases rather than providing tokens or NFTs. So I think that's the pretty much reason why we are trying to deliver some blockchain related features also in the metapixel side. But also I think most of the big gaming companies are pretty much interested in the new paradigm shift derived from the Web3 technology and see what they can actually do on the future.
Yeah, I want to dive into the question of low fees, high fees, and how that can impact onboarding a large group of people and making this more accessible. Sure, when you touched on this for a moment and specifically mentioned Aptos low fees lend itself to being a good platform for to be an accessible platform for a lot of people to come to for gaming. Wondering if you want to expand on that anymore. because there are other chains that have that too, and you wonder if like how you see that progressing.
I think David brought up that point, and I went first last time. So, David, do you want to take that, and I'll follow on?
Oh, all right. David,
You're so generous, Sharon. I thought you'd do a much better job pitching it than I would. So I think there's quite a few different aspects of Aptos that make it really exciting, and there's still a lot more coming. And the fees, I think, definitely play a role here. And just to give context, we did some recent experiments, and actually, I shouldn't even say we, but we did some experiments to say, like, what would it actually take for us to build a program that would enable folks to go and mass mint out tokens so that we could demonstrate how builders can come in and easily really start building applications around Aptos and get out there millions or hundreds of millions of NFTs. In the process of doing that, we also measured what the effective utility token cost would be for producing those. And I think we measured it out to being roughly 0.00005, something very marginal, trivial. and then the community ran with that. Now, you can go look at some of these community posts where they're comparing the rates of minting NFTs on Aptos versus other chains. And we came in a good chunk below anybody else out there. So when we talk about low rates, we're well beyond anybody else. The other thing that's really exciting is we have a upcoming refund policy for storage. And so basically whatever you're paying, if you end up giving back the data that's being used, you get almost a full refund back on your utility token that you used to do the mint in the first place. And so it could be for many of these applications where you're imagining you have a on-chain character that's accumulating upgrades. Those upgrades can then be, returned back. The data can be returned back, effectively negating any real cost to the chain. So that's one aspect of it. I think the other aspect is in terms of programmability and performance. And so I'll hit the performance one first. We're able to demonstrate in many different scenarios, tens of thousands of transactions per second in many of our internal tests. So we're really excited to actually start seeing more demand to get onto the blockchain so that we can demonstrate that more publicly. And then that enables the really cool programmability that Aptos has, which if you haven't familiar, we built Aptos with Move. And so Move is this really safe, really secure, but really well-designed programming language for Web3 that really enables individuals to express their concepts and ideas in a very natural and seamless fashion in the Web3 space. And a lot of feedback that we've gotten from developers in that is explicitly that coming from other chains, other smart contract or Web3 programming paradigms, they find Move extremely accessible and easy to use, which, to be frank, I find a little bit surprising because our tooling, our DevX is still really nascent, but it's really a strong emphasis on and possibility of what we can bring as we invest more and more into the space.
Nice. Thanks for covering that, diving into the role fees play in this a little bit. But that's really just one of the challenges facing like on-chain games and that Web2 companies are facing trying to get into Web3 gaming. I'm wondering if all three of you could give a little thought to like other challenges that Web2 companies are facing getting into this industry. And maybe we'll go to Joseph first.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to add some more on what David told us before. So basically, compared to other blockchains on the scene, Aptos has really actually the lowest fees on the making some transactions or doing some minting. But that also means that we can actually, when we think about the gamer side, it is really hard to convince the actual Web2 related gamers to teach them, hey, you need to pay your gas fee when you're making some transaction into the games, or this is how blockchain work, because it is really common in the Web3 spaces. But when we think about the Web2 related users, then it might be really hard for us to make them understand why the gas fee is being needed and how can we what is the actual benefit from it. So I think on the service layer, on the gaming companies, for example, we are thinking about how we can actually subsidize the gas fee for the user when they are making some kind of actions, when they are playing the games on the Metapixel platform, for example. So I think there might be some really good use cases that other many projects on the Web3 spaces or gaming industry are thinking about making the user experiences more seamless and bringing these kind of experiences, such as like people have been experienced it on the previous web to Steam before, like Steam or like Epic Store. The lowest gas fee also enables us to make some kind of like developments to provide some ways to subsidize the gas fee, or making not people worried about the gas fee by without having some kind of burden. But also, I think the another like pain point for the like gamer side might be like getting understanding about the like wallet side, because when we are thinking about creating an ID account ID on the Steam platform, for example, then people might be using their like OAuth tokens, or like some kind of like login like tokens to such as like Google or Facebook or Twitter to create their account and like dive into the gameplay. But when it comes to the Web3, then we need to make them to create their wallet, and these kind of like things are really not really easy to like bring the actual game player get used to this kind of like technology on the Web3 spaces. So I think that's the reason why the actual like wallet providers or like gaming companies are trying to like cut some kind of like frictions in terms of wallet creation and the usage of the wallet, and how to like make the actual like hash ID more readable. So these kind of things might be also become the frictions for the like big Web2 gaming companies to jump in more to the like gaming spaces. And I think we are like everybody in the spaces are finding some like good ways to like to to like get rid of this kind of problems and deliver more use cases and making some like trials.
Yeah, I would love to build on that point, Joseph. I think one of the there's many challenges, Joe, that are currently standing between where we are today and mass market adoption of Web3 gaming. And I think lots of the things that David and Joseph have very correctly pointed out is there's just a very different user behavior that you have to get used to when you are signing on to Web3 game, right? David mentioned having to pay gas fees for each transaction. Joseph mentioned having to do all this stuff like setting up wallets, and all that is really complicated for the average user. And so I think we're seeing this phenomenon today where people have various terms for it, but I think a really popular one is Web 2.5 gaming, which is all of the Web 3 stuff getting kind of pushed down to the infrastructure layer, and where the gamer you only needs to worry about his or her experience, right? So the game plays and feels like a traditional Web 2 game. You sign on with Google, you pay with your credit card, and there's this layer of intermediate applications that kind of connect the user's familiar experience with the Web3 world. At Aptos, we're pretty favorable on those kind of games because, to bring it back to your first question, we think that's kind of one of the bridges between where we are today and Web3 gaming. This is kind of seamless user experience.
Yeah, one of the points one of my colleagues likes to make a lot on why gaming is well positioned to be like the next big meta that draws a bunch of people to blockchain is that when you're driving down the street and you see an amusement park, you turn your head and you want to see what's going on. When you're driving down the street and you see a bank, you don't think twice. And that's sort of like kind of aligns with what I was looking at on Metapixel's site. There's a little section that says like our core values, one of which is fun is fundamental. And on this like spectrum of like strictly play to earn, it's all about like getting a token or something like that, to just play to enjoy. I wonder, Joseph, maybe if you can unpack what that fun is fundamental core value means to you, and where Metapixel wants to build towards.
Yeah, 100%. So I think the reason why like people on, especially on the like Western gamers, are not really comfortable with the like token gaming or like P2E games or like NFT related gaming is because they think because the previous like gaming experiences on the Web3 spaces were pretty much like grinding some like tokens for the gameplay and like and getting this token as a reward and like selling for like getting some kind of revenue. But we think that this might be not really an actual usage for the like blockchain in terms of the gaming, because we actually think that like Web3 technology should be helping out to enhance the gaming experiences. And also there might be some like benefits when we bring the gaming items on the NFTs, then we can pull up the gray market on item or account trading in the game loop that the gaming companies can build some like new business model, like using the and getting benefit from the technology. So I think there might be really like good options to like use the like blockchain features in terms of the gaming rather than like delivering, hey, this is a game for like earning some tokens. Because anyway, in terms of the like player experiences, then as a gaming company before, what we were facing on the like current Web2 like gaming spaces was basically MPixel was like participating on like game services since 2017, and we know that like the since the market has been like shifted to like PC to mobile, then in the game developer perspective, we had been like use some kind of like free to play model and like putting some kind of random boxes to get some instant revenue. But actually, like this kind of like business model were really working fine and still working fine. But what I wanted to like point out is since we were the one and only provider who are selling the inflation directly by ourselves, and these kind of actions were like also like cutting off the actual like PLC of the game itself and turning that into the money to make the company sustainable. But on the other hand, the like gaming companies were forced to like bring like sequels such as like Ground Zero 1 or Ground Zero 2 and Ground Zero 3 to like keep and maintain the actual gamers to inside their ecosystem. But like when we thought about the regular the like previous like games on the like MMO side, for example, there were some like games which were really running more than a decade, and we felt that this is because like people are actually participating inside the like gaming economy itself and and living inside the game world. And but the another like point that we can like, get benefit from the blockchain is like is like making some like usage with the NFT technology to make the people get ownership of the gaming items and bring the gray market inside the game. And B is to deliver some kind of like transparency using the on-chain features, because even we were like selling some kind of random boxes and we disclosed like every single like probabilities or chances to get a really cool gear or like chances to get the item upgraded. But there are some kind of like problems if the people are making like more than like 10,000 or like 15,000 like trials, and what happens if they doesn't really get the expected result and they just like try to not trust the actual like, company anymore, and they say that, hey, this is not really like fair, and I'm not I made a like bunch of purchases and I'm not really getting the right item, and you guys are having your like all of the probabilities in the black box, so I cannot really trust the company. But if we are like creating some kind of randomnesses on chain and delivering this information with the on chain data to the like users, then we might have some like possibilities to like make our like current user base have more like trust inside the like gaming economy and see how the actual economy is like being formed, and how the actual like, gaming companies are providing the like right like probabilities or chances to get a cool item. So I think this might be a really like small piece of thing that we can like bring the blockchain technology into the games. But I think the like future of the like Web3 gaming will be more than just like bringing some like gaming items on the NFT side, or maybe bringing some like tokens as a reward. So I think we are also in a stage to figure out how we can actually like implement the blockchain technology and provide it this as like seamless experiences or like the technology behind the game with the gaming narratives.
There was a lot in that, Joseph. So thank you. I want to give Sherwin or David an opportunity to pluck out something there, because there's a lot of juicy stuff. Some of the stuff that popped off the page to me was this sort of scale from just like on-chain assets, proof that you own this hat or this something, to like a fully on-chain MMORPG, which feels almost, hard to grasp at the moment, given what we've seen. So I'm wondering if maybe Sherwin or David, you want to chat a little bit about that scale from making just a game with on-chain assets, very enjoyable to play, to this huge undertaking of something like an MMORPG that exists on-chain.
So I'll take a stab, and maybe Sheridan wants to interrupt me at some point in time. I think there's a couple things. So in the immediate future, one thing I'm particularly excited is, so I don't know how many of you folks are MMO players, but a lot of MMO players end up forming guilds. These guilds have a huge presence in the game itself. But one of the things that I found really exciting was these guilds take a presence in the real world as well. And that could be both on things like Discord or Twitch, or even taking it into, day-to-day life. And then the question is, how do I actually verify you're the player in game versus the individual outside the game? And Web3 has that really great ability to kind of dynamically make this just work. And so you could easily validate somebody is who they say they are by doing, a quick exchange, like an NFC exchange on your phone, and just saying, oh yeah, I know who you are. I can recognize you. I see you. As opposed to some sort of quirky dance where you have to load up your laptops or your games in front of each other and say, here, let me prove that I can log in, that, you can trust me, that I am that person that we've been playing in that avatar in game. But beyond that, I think the other thing that I'm really excited about, which Joseph alluded to, is what can we do to completely decentralize games as a whole? And mind you, I think the narrative here is we're talking about years on out, but, I spent a long time in academia exploring the realms of possibility within decentralized technologies, peer-to-peer systems. And one of the things that always got me really excited was the idea that we could theoretically have platforms and services that don't have any sort of centralization whatsoever. And just kind of poking at what we have with things like Epic and Steam, which provide this critical infrastructure for games to kind of exist in the realm that we have to date. But the issue is you always have to go into those services so you can find matchmaking, so you can find your friends, so you can meet your peers. What if we could actually just build a game directly on top of a Web3 infrastructure where there is no dedicated or single point where I have to make a negotiation with this party, with this partner, to be part of a ever-growing, diverse presence where I can easily build into the platforms and the service applications that enable gamers from all over the world to find each other in their own presence, in their own framework, in their own interfaces, because you can build applications and services that tailor directly to the consumers from people with inside of their regions, but still meet with everybody that just exists inside of the world in which we live. And I think the opportunities, the possibilities are quickly coming upon us with, core layer one technology as a building block. We now need to start to think about what are the additional layers of decentralization that we can build on top of that we can leverage the layer one for, this discoverability for this core data layer. But we need to think about larger data storage. What can we provide beyond, we can store hundreds of gigabytes and terabytes of data, but we're going to potentially need exabytes of storage that works in a decentralized fashion. We're going to need extremely low latency technology so that if I want to play a game with my friend in Asia, I don't have to go through 4 round trips or 2 round trips on a blockchain for us to just have a single in-game interaction. And so I think as we start to see applications be built in this space, we're going to start recognizing the requirements to get even more real-time and more progressive, more exploratory games. And I think that's going to challenge the narrative and the feasibility of what we've seen in Web3 to be so much more interesting and exciting. So I'm really, really optimistic and really bullish about the future of what we're seeing here.
Sherwin, if you wanted to add anything.
There's no way I would have interrupted something like that, David. I feel like that was a really good point, and very presciently saying where the future of it's going. I think it's absolutely right. I think that if you look at all the stuff between like the lawsuits between Epic and Apple today, right? They're just these debates about how much these walled gardens and these platforms should be taking. And I think David brings a really good point, which is, why do they have to be taking anything at all, right? The technology is, if not there, at least possible in the next few years for all this connectivity to be really seamless, organic, the way players want it to be. So definitely view it as the next evolution.
I wanted to sort of build off the idea of, like, decentralization, blockchain, and how it lends itself to longevity in the gaming world and like reputation lasting for a longer time. Right now, you've heard of like Vitalik, he was partially joking, partially being serious on like when he initially like made Ethereum, he was like, I didn't want to lose all my cool stuff I had in World of Warcraft. And what if there was a world in which all of that was immutable and transferable? I wonder how you guys see, and maybe this is a good opportunity to dive into Metapixel and how you're not building just one thing, but aiming to kind of have a broad span of games that you guys are paying attention to. So I wonder how you see blockchain and its role in building a lasting game and a meaningful game that people want to build their reputation in. Probably for Joseph there.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting topic because also like we are thinking some like ways to like bring more people participating in actual like game world because they are putting their like time and money and effort to inside the gaming world and they deserve themselves as a really core gamer and they might be like delivering some more like cool ideas that they have based on their experiences and like their gameplay. So I think the decentralization is a really interesting topic, but what we need to like figure out is how can we like actually distinguish the like actual like data from the to distinguish the actual like core gamers who are really like playing deeply in the blockchain side. So recall that like I've read the why did the like Vitalik have been developed in Ethereum after he got like frustrated on like playing World of Warcraft with the like all of the balance and stuff. But yeah, I think in terms of like the technology we are thinking about like I think there might be a really good opportunities to use to like mark the actual like play data on chain and distinguish these kind of like users and make them like and make them more participating on like each type of like different games they want to play and we can also like create some kind of like revenue sharing stream with the in the game side as well. So mm, yeah, I think that was the reason why we are also we just, that was the reason what the Metapixel was focusing on the the like launcher and platform side and of course the other like bringing some like different type of games because we just wanted to like make the people have a really different like choice of the gaming they wanted to play but we were using our like original like ground-side IP at the beginning but we are not really limiting our users to hey you need to like you need to play only the like ground-side related games to get some kind of like interoperabilities or some like gaming items like connected inside the like Metapixel's game world. But also what we are like thinking is actually we thought that like when we think about the like NFTs for example, and they are also like building a really cool communities and we just wanted to like open up some kind of like boundaries of the NFTs to make the actual like NFT community use their NFT as a gaming avatar and like mingle more with their communities by building some like games on the Pixelcraft or like creating some like community events in the like gaming world so they can all like get some more like benefit on the blockchain side and also like gaming company have some kind of opportunities to get benefit from the like community side so we can like to like get benefit like between like each parties so this was the like basic idea that popped up in my mind.
Thank you for that explainer there, Joseph. I'm just scrolling through Metapixel's Twitter right now, and there's one tweet a little bit while back. I'll pin it in a second. Talks about the Aptos token object. And this is sort of a new thing that I'd love someone to explain to me here because I'm just learning about it. But it sort of brings about the question a little bit more broadly of like, because we're so early and because innovation happens so quickly right now in like crypto and in on-chain gaming more specifically, what is it like to build games in an industry that is changing so rapidly? And I'll go ahead and pin that up there. So, like, what is it like to build games in an industry changing so rapidly? And then maybe more specifically, can someone explain the Aptos token object? It says AIP 11. Maybe Sherwin, that would be good for you if you're comfortable taking
I
that
think
on.
that is all David.
That's what I was thinking, because I'm not really a tech
David.
side person, so David might be having a really good answers on that.
Okay, David, all you.
I was really looking forward to seeing how the two of you sold that, because it would be really great so that I can pick up my game on salesmanship. So I'll start first with the more developer-centric component of what is it like to build in such an ever-changing environment, which kind of tails into the token object that we've built out. So if we roll back, we started working with MetaPixel, I think towards November or December of last year. And the first process was just kind of taking an intake of what their vision and dream was to build with inside of Web3. And we didn't say, like, what do we have on Aptos today? We just listened specifically to the rich in-game experiences, the composability, the dynamics, the flexibility. Like, they were thinking, what if we could be unchained from the burdens of what Web3 and application development was in the current space, and just figured, like, what if we just took the data models, the applications, the intuitive experiences that users have in-game, and try to make that fit within inside of a Web3 environment. So we spent some time just kind of listening to each other. We actually had an amazing trip out to Korea in January, where we took some initial ideas that we had been playing with inside of Move, and said, how does this fit what you're trying to build? And that is the kind of the birth of the Aptos token objects, which we actually is built on top of something we call Move objects. And the whole construct here is, what if we enable people to build data models and applications that fit exactly as if they were building in the Web 2 world? So you can think about, a chunk of data that owns other chunks of data. So a hero that owns a sword, the sword has accessories, and they're upgradable, and this can happen all directly on chain. And it gives you the large flexibility to where, let's say I have a hero that has all these different pieces, and it's my in-game character. And now all of a sudden, Joseph is coming along saying, David, I really want to get into the game. You've got 5 of these heroes. I've got nothing, but you want to play with me. How do we make this happen really easily? Well, I'm like, well, Joseph, here's one of my heroes. Let's go play together now. And that's what we've been able to enable through all this technological advancements that happened with really, from core concept in January to deployment on mainnet, a month ago. And now we're rapidly making our progress towards seeing this come to fruition in these upcoming titles that Joseph is building on. And so it's amazing, it's exciting. And, I could get a lot more into the technical weeds, but I think the reality is, to see a organization such as NPixel get so deep in the weeds with us. I mean, they're co-authors on the standard itself, not because of the influence and the insights that they've been able to bring to the table, and then they've contributed directly to that, and then they've built applications directly on top of demonstrating the capability and the accessibility into that space. And so what they've been able to do, I'm excited to see what we see more of that in the coming months.
Yeah, I'd love to piggyback on that, because I think it's such a great point. And I think it's, one of the things that makes Aptos pretty differentiated versus some of the other chains is, I think we are less concerned with doing a land grab and signing up every partner we can for the sake of market share. I think, we recognize that we are so early, all of us collectively, in this space of Web3 that, the goal is to put, like you said early on, Joe, bring, blockchain gaming to the masses. And so that requires an intense collaboration between the technology providers and the game developers. It, requires listening to each other and really bringing that full support. And I think, that's the way that new technologies, new use cases can really be brought to the forefront. And we're really excited to see everything that multiple people are building. There's a ton of, we're so early in the space that, to answer the earlier part of your question about what's it like building in a space that's so new, there's just so much innovation to keep going, to keep on. So, constantly being on the social media, seeing what other people are building, looking out for new exciting ideas. It's a very interesting time.
The
Yeah,
one thing I want
David.
to throw out there is we have an active community. We've got an active Discord. There's some internal Telegram builder chat so that if you get engaged with the community, we pull people in there. Reach out, start building on top of Aptos, and give us challenges that make it fun to build in Web3. Let's make this a lot more fun because we can really start exposing these interoperable experiences. But the only way we do that is by having a lot of people building together and exploring together.
Yeah, maybe I'll take a moment and reset the space before we go into a couple final questions. Redirecting people's attention up to the top. If you do want to be building a game on Aptos, come to Web3 Gaming Week. Apply to that. The link is web3gamingweek.com. But earlier, David mentioned specific titles that you were working on, Joseph, at NPixel, Metapixel. Wondering if you could dive into those specific titles and what you guys have on the horizon before we wrap up.
Yeah, for sure. So currently, on the Metapixel side, we have two of our projects that we are currently working on. The first one is Grand Saga Limited, which is the MMORPG on building on top of Aptos, and also we have a Pixel Craft, which is something like a Roblox in the Web3 spaces, so they can bring their NFT collections as a gaming avatar and mingle with their community and build their own mini games. And maybe we can expand to other outer marketplaces to see how we can make a transition into the Web2 spaces and Web3 spaces. So these are the things that we are currently working on. And since we to deliver some more information about the Ground Saga Limited that we're working on. Actually, we thought that it might be really important to make the actual gaming economy and gaming balance really more sustainable, and that was the reason why we were focusing on building some in-game economy related on the gaming item, which can be implemented with the NFTs or fungible tokens. But on that point, we just we since we didn't have any type of metapixel tokens or some kind of NFT sales at the very beginning when we are forming up our community. So our basic intention after we sign up for the core partnership with Aptos team was how we can actually deliver some games and showcase what we are actually building and make the actual people get experiences on the game side, because even if we are building some really cool games on the market, but if the people with the Web3 technology integrated, but if the people doesn't really feel fun during their gameplay, the other really cool stuff derived from the Web3 technology might be not really that worthy because game is not really fun. So that was the basic intention to build some fun games, and that's why we were focusing to deliver the actual fun during our first playtest, which was held on the second end of March before. And now we were and here are some of the people also listening who were the actual testers during the first playtest, but they were they were really diving into the game and did really a core gameplay and showed their interest. And now we are really bullish on bringing some kind of blockchain related features to show them, which will be the advancing some kind of gaming experiences using the blockchain technology, such as how we can use the Zoban token, for example, to deliver inside game system itself to deliver with some kind of gaming narratives, and how we can deliver some gaming items on the using the blockchain technical layer to make people more get some more ownership and feel the people making some kind of trades on their inventories or something like that. So these are the things that we are trying to showcase, and also we are testing some kind of like blockchain related on-chain randomnesses on the upcoming playtest to deliver. Hey, we can actually deliver this kind of like transparency inside the game. So these are the core things that we are working on. So basically, on the high level, we are focusing to see how we can actually get benefit from the blockchain technology itself to make the people more like to, to make our gamers get more like interested in like playing the actual like game, even though we didn't say that, hey, this is a blockchain game, or hey, this is a play to earn game, because anyway the gamers might be interested in playing the like fun, like getting some like fun first when they jump into the game. So these are the things that we are currently building on. So we are like currently like working on like these two types of like mainstream that we as a like product side. So we're trying to like wrap this up with uh inside the like metapixel.io to like connect all of these experiences and show them like, hey, this is the actual like gamers experiences that we can uh, gamers experiences which can be also used comfortably with the like Web2 like gamers. So that's the reason why we are saying that we are building a like Web3 home for gamers.
Yeah, it's definitely clear that Metapixel and NPixel are early to on-chain gaming, and certainly a leader on the Aptos side. So very, very excited to see where you guys head in the next few years. And we're also excited to see you at Web3 Gaming Week in a little bit, Joseph. It'll be nice to meet you in person. As we're coming up on about the 15-minute mark, I just want to make sure we give everyone an opportunity on stage to cover any questions that might have popped up throughout the chat. And then David mentioned it a bit earlier, but if someone wanted to get involved, they're a developer and they want to start building, or maybe Sherwin, if you have a sense of where people would go to get involved in the community, if they're not a developer, maybe we could chat a little bit about that. So David, maybe reiterate where they can go if they want to start building.
Sure. I mean, first of all, you can hit me up on DMs. Mine are open, so I'm always happy to direct people to be useful and helpful and to grow and learn, whether that's by pointing to documentation, opportunities, projects, or just to talk shop. Beyond that, one of the easiest URLs to remember is aptos.dev. That's aptos.dev. If you head over there, it's got links to basically everything else in the ecosystem to get you onboarded and get started. And that's how I'd recommend people get involved.
Killer. So thank you guys. If there's anything you guys want to mention here before we wrap up, I just want to give a second. No need to have anything prepared. I just ran through some of the stuff I wanted to chat about. But if there is anything on your mind, now's the time to say it.
I think I can go first. So currently, we are working on working on our game build to showcase the like actual like usage of the blockchain combined to the MMORPG side. So that's how we are forming the Ground Cycle Limited second playtest. So we are currently gathering some people to as a like tester at the moment on the metapixel.io. So like if you are like a gamer and if you're interested in seeing some like experiences, how we can deliver some like gaming experiences on Aptos in terms of like the gameplay for the Ground Cycle Limited second playtest. And we are happy to like bring more people as a tester from like across the globe and see how we can and wanted to like get some kind of feedback on the like gamer side and the developer side as well to proceed our like development and like prepare some kind of like upgrades with the feedbacks.
Yeah, I'd have nothing more to add, but thanks to Joseph for your incredible partnership. We're really grateful to have you. If you're interested, to reiterate what he said, if you're interested, please sign up for the playtest. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun getting a sneak peek at what is brewing in Grand Saga Unlimited before anyone else has the chance to. And thank you for hosting this space, Joe.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining. Again, Sherwin, appreciate your time. Joseph from Metapixel, likewise. And last but not least, David, again, I'm just going in the order left to right. We appreciate your time. And I hope we can do this again soon. Looking forward to meeting you, Joseph, in Singapore in just a few weeks at Web3 Gaming Week.